without further ado, let's get to my guest for today. He's a WWE Hall of Famer, former WC champ, WWE champ, Mr. Bill Goldberg. How you doing, my friend? Bill, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. It's been a while since we have spoken. What is new with you?
Oh, Christ, where do I begin? We had twins born on the property this morning. I don't know what kind of animal it was, but I think it was of the deer family. But
all right.
No, man, my boy's prepping for his senior year of high school football and the baseball season now. I'm about to head to London next week, and just trying to figure out life, man.
Dude, I've missed talking to you not too long ago. You used to come on and join our old show, Fourth and Pain, and do NFL picks with us week in and week out. Now, a lot of people know your first love was football, defensive lineman with the Georgia Bulldogs, Atlanta Falcons. Now, most people probably recognize you from pro wrestling. So let's go back just a smidge before we go forward. Talk to me about how did you get into pro wrestling from the NFL? And the second part of that question, dude, the early part, like your career, the early part of your career in WCW, all right, you debuted September 22nd, 1997. You, within 10 months, July 6th in the Georgia Dome, you face Hulk Hogan for the WCW Championship. You beat him. You go on a 173-0 win streak. What got you into wrestling, and what was that beginning, that firestorm that started your career out? What was that like?
Well, man, first and foremost, as you said, my true love is football. So aspiring to be a NFL defensive lineman as successful as yourself, I unfortunately fell a little bit short because of, I would imagine, lack of talent, but an injury kind of put the exclamation mark on the end of my career. And just to be perfectly honest with you, my accountant told me to get off my ass one day and go make a living after that. You talk about depression. It seems to be popping up a lot as of late, right? So, I mean, you can empathize wholeheartedly from a guy, with a guy that had his dream cut short because of one reason or another. And man, I only aspired to do that my whole life. That's what I wanted to, that was my vehicle, and that was taken away from me. And I had to reinvent myself. And, I'm a person that doesn't like to be sedentary, and I got to move forward and get better every second. And so I tried to put a game plan together, and I'd worked on my body for a hell of a long time. And so as opposed to starting from scratch, I wanted to maybe capitalize on what I'd worked my entire life on. So one thing led to another. I was in the right place at the right time, and made the right decision. And, the stars aligned, man. I mean, you talk about the early WCW days. That's my career as far as you ask me. I mean, that was the pinnacle in the Monday Night Wars, and that's when wrestling was wrestling. It's changed, as you know, exponentially throughout the years. But I like to look at those WCW days as my heyday. I mean, like, no doubt. And being able to play in the first game in the Georgia Dome and then actually wrestle and beat Hogan in the Dome with a bunch of my teammates in the crowd. I mean, that, dude, you remember, it was pretty special.
It was very special, and I still remember watching that in high school on TV with my dad, as a matter of fact. Now, you went to WWE for a while. You won the WWE Championship. You took a break for about 12 years. So, and we're not going to get into the weeds. I know it wasn't always warm and fuzzies with Vince McMahon and Triple H, but ultimately you ended up coming back. So what led to the process of you coming back in 2016? And the other part of that, your son Gage is a big part of your life. And I know he was a big part of you coming back. What was it like for him to watch his dad beat Brock Lesnar, win the WWE Championship, and make a big comeback like that?
All of it's been pretty damn cool, to be honest with you. To be, he doesn't he's a football player. He's an athlete. He's, he has been behind the scenes and has partaken in a little bit of what we do. And I mean, for him, it's just like another feather in his cap. He doesn't place a lot of stock in it. I don't want to crush anybody's dreams, but he's on a mission right now. So like literally my boy was doing his homework 5 minutes before the match where he came out and, got choked out by Lashley in Vegas. So, I mean, nothing really phases him. It's widely known that the only reason why I came back is because of him. I could only take so many days of him, questioning what I used to do, leading up to me making the decision to come back. So I figured, why continue to tell this kid? Why not just show him, right? So I made the decision and went back. It was a great time with my family. That's how I look at my WWF or WWE run, this latest one. It was, as a father, it was a dream come true, in a lot of ways. So it was pretty damn cool, man. And, we continue to make memories every day still. So it's a pretty cool place to be.
I got one more wrestling question for you, and then I actually want to move on to football just a little bit. Now, there's some rumors. There's this other promotion out there, AEW. Now, there's some rumors that you might be coming back for one last match in WWE. There's rumors that you might sign with AEW. What can you tell us here about what may or may not be true about any of these rumors and innuendo?
I'll stop the rumor mill right now. The reason why these rumors are out there is because Vince McMahon and I had a handshake understanding that, after the Roman Reigns match, I would have a proper retirement match. And, that hasn't come to fruition through them. And so therefore, nobody puts a stamp on my career. Nobody tells me when I'm done, period, end of story. And when somebody tells me that, I kind of like to fight against it. I like to do things my own way, and I go out my own way. And I surely don't go out, under Roman Reigns, 3 weeks after I have COVID and agreed to a match. So, if I go on a world tour and promote it myself, that's a possibility. If hey, I'm a businessman, and I'm fortunately, in the position I firmly believe to where I can still make it happen. So, at the end of the day, like I said, I do believe that my character deserves a proper send off. And, until that happens, man, I don't believe I'm hanging them up, so anything and everything is an option. And like I say, I'm very much leaning towards promoting it myself and doing a four city world tour. So, let the rumor mill start up after that.
Dude, that would be sweet. I know I'm almost famous, which means nobody knows who I am. But if you ever need an unknown tag team partner, dude, I am your guy. Don't forget about that, all right?
You're hilarious, man.
That's that's an offer in perpetuity, and that means it never ends.
That's done every single thing that I ever had on my checklist in the NFL, man. You're great, man. You continue to reinvent yourself and do your thing with your podcast. You're just having fun, man. That's what life's all about. So I will definitely take that into consideration. And there are a plethora of people that are on my list as to whether it be partners or teammates in the promotion of what I'm about to do. So we'll see what happens, man. You never say never.
All right.
Nothing could come of it. You never know. But the fact is that, like I said, I do believe that the character needs a proper send off. So there you have it.
I agree with you with that. Now, I want to move to football real quick. All right. You're a former Georgia Bulldog, a proud Georgia alum. Your school's doing pretty well. A couple of national titles back to back. So here's my question for you. Okay, because Georgia won a national title in 1980. They'd had a little bit of a drought there. But my question for you, and I don't mean that as a dig, I mean it's a compliment to Kirby Smart.
It's all good.
What do you believe he is doing?
about since I was in high school. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's impressive to me what Kirby Smart has done. Like, what do you believe that he is doing so well that they've now won back-to-back national championships?
This is a roller coaster ride, but an ex-teammate of mine unfortunately passed away last week. A guy named Larry Brown, 2 weeks ago, and I took my family, to see him at a hospital prior to that, and we had a free morning, and so Gage and I drove up to Georgia, to Athens, and we walk in. And the first person I see is Kirby Smart sitting down eating with his team, right? Just 2 or 3 guys, and he's a player's coach, and he's got a hell of a background, both physically and mentally. And I think he brings such an attitude and a workman's like and a blue collar like way of going about things, and he don't pull no punches. He doesn't. He tells you like it is, and I think he's one hell of a leader of the ship, and he's a good dude, and he's a guy that I'm ecstatic for him to be the head coach, not just because he's winning. So I think he's a bulldog through and through, and I couldn't be happier with what's going on over there.
Now, I got to ask you a Nebraska question, all right? And from afar, okay, what is your perspective? What is your opinion? Do you believe that Nebraska, under their new head coach, Matt Rule, can get back to, at some point in the near future, competing for championships again like they used to? What are your thoughts on that potential?
No, I mean, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination on he and his background and what the current, recruiting classes are like at Nebraska. But all I can say is that these days, it's not nearly about the coaching ability as much as it is your ability to juggle the portal, current rosters, your conference. I mean, there's so much that goes into this now. I think the ones that are suffering are the seniors in high school. Spots are being taken up by portal kids. But I don't know, man. I surely hope, as a kid who grew up in the Midwest in Oklahoma, when the heyday of, Oklahoma, Nebraska, was at the forefront, man, I hope that definitely comes back. I mean, there's no question about it. There's a huge lineage of history there that's all about winning football games and not doing it quietly. So I'm hopeful for those days to return.
All right, one last question for you, and then I'll let you get out of here. So we're going to mix pro wrestling and football just a smidge. If you were to pick 3 WWE wrestlers, and you were to be like, I have to start a football team with 3 WWE wrestlers, who would be the top 3 guys that you would start with? I have 3 of my own, and I forced myself to do non-ex-football players, so that eliminates yourself, The Rock, Austin. The 3 guys I came up with, there are actually a lot of basketball players. Undertaker, big, tall, athletic. Paul White, the Big Show. Anybody who's 500 pounds who could do a kip-up blows my mind. And then actually Kofi Kingston. I looked him up, and he's 212 pounds. With that athleticism, he sticks out to me. But who would be your top 3 guys that you would pick?
Oh, man, that's a tough question. I don't really know, man. I can't give you that, because the guys that I would pick are older guys, number one, and number two, they're guys who had football backgrounds. I mean, Ron Simmons would 100% be my number one pick in the draft. If I could pick anybody who ever wrestled and would play, would be a part of my football team, he would be the guy. There's no doubt about that. But I don't really know, man. I can't give you an educated guess on that one, because there's too many athletes up there. Now, whether mentally they can deal with it, that's a complete different question. But physically, there's so many guys up there that are gifted. I don't know. Sorry to
you actually kind of gave me an idea. What if we had a D-line consisting of Ron Simmons, Bill Goldberg, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? That would be one heck of a D-line right there. What are your thoughts on that?
One thing I can tell you is I'd be running towards me and Rock all day than running towards Ron Simmons. But yeah, I think that'd be a pretty formidable D-line. But yeah, Ron is just a freaking rock star, dude. His college career was just unparalleled. So huge fan of his. Hacksaw was a damn good football player too. So
Okay, I did not know that. All right. Well, hey, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me. And whatever you end up doing next, good luck. And I will definitely be keeping an eye out for it.
You got it, brother. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure, man. Miss you. And good luck, man. Keep it up.